So I do not know what's going on in the ATP. I just don't have the bandwidth. So, wish them luck.
Hello everybody, welcome back to The Body Serve. I'm Jonathan.
I'm James.
It's gonna be a mixed bag. Not quite a mailbag, not quite a full normal episode, a mix of both.
Yeah, it's gonna be all over the place, basically. It's been quite a while since we recorded new content, because we gave you part 2 of the Courtney Nguyen interview last time. That was in the bag, that was already done.
You're always trying to give away how much we're not doing.
Peek behind. We still did it.
Right, but you need to give away behind the scenes stuff that let us look productive.
Okay. Well, today we decided to record. It's a work night for both of us, and we typically don't record later on because I'm, these days I'm not a night owl anymore. Back to the 9 to 5.
We did not plan to record tonight, but I got out of work early, and so we decided to do it now.
Let's start with some doping-related news. It's not technically doping-related, but Jannik Sinner rehired his fitness coach, Umberto Ferrara, who, according to the testimony that was used in Jannik's doping case, procured the spray that contained the banned substance clostebol. He gave it to the physiotherapist to use on his finger, allegedly. Well, I guess not allegedly anymore. They said that the spray contaminated Jannik, and that's why he tested positive for this anabolic substance. Mind you, you all know this by now, the packaging for the spray features a very conspicuous doping warning, with the word doping in English and a little circle Xing it out, like a non-smoking sign. You can't miss it. Ferrara has worked in Italian sport, which has had a number of contamination cases with this particular drug, and he should have known better. So the decision to rehire him is, at first, to me, baffling. But then, when I thought about it, incredibly bold. Not in a good way.
Sinner fired them both last summer, but that was only after the investigation became public. It did not happen immediately, right as he found out.
No.
It was only when we found out. Maybe that was by design so as to not bring attention ahead of time.
Like to not make them appear guilty or
to just have people, nosy, invasive people, being like, well, why? Why did he do that? And then having to answer questions ahead of time and then having to lie and, I don't know.
Right. If we believe the story that was presented in the case, both Ferrara and Naldi were negligent. Both of them should be fired. Neither should be welcomed back to the team, in my opinion. If you believe what was said. It was incredibly reckless stuff and pretty basic if you're working in this field. And have extensive experience in Ferrara's case.
So you think it's kind of a don't give a fuck kind of situation for Sinner?
Yeah, I think I served a 3-month suspension for this. I was deemed to have no fault or negligence. And so say something. I dare you, right? I'm going to hire back this guy. I don't care.
What does this guy bring to him specifically that other people cannot? Is my question. Is it just that they're really good friends? That's the thing that makes most sense to me. Like, they have a really good relationship. He likes this dude. Because professionally speaking, why would you open yourself up to the criticisms and the possibility of going down this road again? For somebody whose gross negligence is allegedly what caused all this personal and professional strife for you.
Mm-hmm. The other possibility is that it didn't happen the way they said. And I'm not saying, to be clear, I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. But this was the story that was laid out and was believed by the doping authorities, and I have no reason to believe it didn't happen this way. But those are the kind of questions you're going to get when you hire this person back. Now, I believe that Ferrara is very talented and probably extremely good at his job. I mean, look what he's done with Jannik's fitness, right? The proof is in the pudding. It's just a very strange decision to hire him back.
A few weeks ago, we solicited mailbag questions. We have them all. As it turned out, some of those questions dovetailed with the stuff that's happening in tennis since we did that. So we're going to intersperse those through the first half of the episode where it's relevant. And then at the end, we'll close with a few mailbag questions. Specific to this topic, we got a question via Instagram, and I am calm or I am column.
Yeah, it's either Colm like Rafa says it, or Column like Uncle Column from Dairy Girls.
Mm-hmm. They ask, why do you guys dislike Jannik so much? Mind you, I've been a listener for years. I like that little
Thank you.
qualifier.
Yes, thank you. I realize you probably put that in there to show that the question was in good faith.
Yes.
And you weren't being trolly.
Which is important because
Yeah.
that is exactly why we're answering it, because we deem it to be in good faith.
Right. I want to say, can I take the first part, I guess?
Sure.
I wanted to say, I understand why you would think that we dislike Sinner. I don't necessarily think it's true, because I think there's a big difference between the commission of disliking someone that feels active and the omission of simply not liking someone. To me, that's a big difference. I don't actively dislike Jannik. I don't hate him. I don't wish him ill, but I haven't taken to him. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the big difference. And maybe things we've said in the past have made you feel that I'm not being truthful right now. And that's totally fair. And we make jokes and everything, but I don't dislike Sinner.
Yeah. He's one half of a duopoly at the head of ATP tennis right now. Mm-hmm. And we happen to support the other half. So with all these slam finals that have been happening, and these two splitting them over the last year and a half, we've been in the other corner, personally. Right? So necessarily, I guess we've been rooting for him to lose. Maybe that spilled over into the podcast and how we talk about him. I think what you said is more accurate rather than a dislike. I've said this before. In Jamaica, there's a saying, when my spirit don't take to somebody, mm-hmm. right? Which means something about that person doesn't gel with my being.
Right.
You know? And so it's not a dislike. It's a, why are you so buttoned up? Why is the top button on your polo always so buttoned up? Like, that stuff irrationally bothers me to no end. The cap bothers me. You take the cap off, totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
I have a completely different viewpoint of this person. It just seems to me, for who I like to support, he's too reserved. He's too robotic. He's too buttoned up. Buttoned up in every sense of the word. Clothing and otherwise.
Yeah. But I will go out of my way to see him if I have the chance, right? If
we have.
I will always want to watch him just because he's that great.
2 years ago, we watched him in practice at Rogers Cup, now National Bank Open. Just in practice.
Right. And this is not true for me about other greats. Like, there are some other GOATs that I, at this point, would not go out of my way to see. I'm not calling Jannik a GOAT, just to be clear. I'm just,
It's not an indictment on his game. His game is undeniable. Super talented. Right now, it's just not for me.
Yeah. And I think we both get very passionate and emotional when we like an opposing player.
Yes.
Like, I'll appreciate Jannik in a few years. Right? The same way we did with Roger, the same way you did with Steffi Graf. But when it's happening for me, it is so hard to remain unbiased.
The other thing that's bugged me, it's the discourse surrounding him with this whole doping thing. And when it went down, Darren Cahill telling everybody that, oh, this is impossible because he's such a good guy. We were force-fed how great of a guy he is and how impossible it was that this ever could have happened. And I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that. I'm not taking your word for it. Show me.
Exactly. I don't want to hear the PR blitz. I want to see the evidence. Was Marion Jones an evil woman? I don't think so. Did she make a lot of mistakes? Yeah. I think basically anyone is capable of doping. Mm-hmm. I think it would be naive to think otherwise. And
the biggest sin for me with him is that I find him boring.
I think you said that already.
I did? I said buttoned up.
You're going to start undermining our answer here.
He doesn't excite me. What can I say?
Yeah.
I do want to expand on the boring thing, though, because it's not just the persona, it's the game as well.
Oh, okay.
The game is incredible from the ground. Mm-hmm. Such incredible hitting. I find it boring.
Okay.
In the way that I find Djokovic's ground game boring, which I know is heresy. That does not excite me. that you're able to hit so fast and accurately and flat from the ground does not excite me at all. Never has. I'm from the school of Yana Novotná, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. I guess you could say, being an Agassi fan, that's hypocritical, but he was not laser-like from the baseline like that, with that kind of power. And there was a lot more, it seemed at the time, more geometry involved and smarts on court.
Okay. Now, for me, this does not apply to WTA because I'll stand Lindsay Davenport forever.
Okay. Oh my God. Other doping news.
Tara Moore, who is one of the most vocal players on Twitter, and we have talked about this case a little bit, especially when we covered Iga Świątek's case last, around Thanksgiving. Her case was appealed by the ITIA to the Court of Arbitration for Sport after the independent tribunal found that Tara had no fault or negligence when she tested positive for nandrolone. That's a bad one. CAS decided to suspend her for 4 years, disagreeing with the independent tribunal's ruling, and they said that after reviewing the evidence, the player, quote, did not succeed in proving that the concentration of nandrolone in her sample was consistent with the ingestion of contaminated meat. Her case was that she was in South America. We've seen cases like this with contamination in Colombia, especially from beef, right? Robert Ferrara got off because of this. The ITIA had insisted that the finding of nandrolone was never adequately explained by her camp, that it was way too much to be explained away by ingestion through food. And it was an adverse analytical finding, as they call it, of 105 nanograms per milliliter. Tara has been really vocal about how long the investigation has taken, that there were 19 months of her career basically stolen from her. The 19 months are considered time served now in this 4-year suspension.
She's still got more than 2 years.
She does, yes. So since I signed up for these emails from the ITIA, they're so interesting. And by the way, you keep deleting them from the inbox. It's making me crazy.
No, I archive them.
Okay.
You can still find it. Unlike you...
You got to make a folder for me.
Your inbox has hundreds of emails in it.
Not anymore. I have about 50.
Okay. I cannot have more than 5.
Okay, anyway, at least give me 24 hours to read these things. Anyway, that's not what this is about. In one of these news releases, the CEO of the ITIA, Karen Morehouse, wrote that the significant delays in this case were, quote, down to the players' requests for more time. Oh. Well, that was pointed.
Okay, do we believe it?
I don't know. I guess we have to decide whom we believe. Morehouse also said that the agency is going to be making short video explainers about certain doping cases as an effort to improve communication. And they included basically a 3-minute explainer on Max Purcell's case, which the whole effort I found kind of humorous. They're also going to be launching a private WhatsApp platform for players and other people in the sport, so players can ask questions, seek support, and or snitch if necessary. I looked back at our agenda from the Iga episode in November, I believe. We said at the time that Tara Moore had a, quote, more legitimate beef than most. No pun intended. With this ruling, I don't know if we were correct. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know. And I really don't know at this point if we were right.
Well, this has been one of our critiques of the whole process, is that we'll never know.
Right.
In any situation.
Like, why did it take so long?
There's no certainty with anything. And that it often boils down to whether you like somebody, whether you're inclined to believe them. And in the case of Jannik Sinner, how could you not believe him? Because he's such a great guy.
Right. And Simona Halep, etc. All right, Washington, D.C., 500. This tournament was so buzzy. It had so much attention.
It slapped.
They did a great job this year.
We start out the tournament. Well, even before the tournament starts, we get news that Venus Williams has accepted a wild card to play this event. Now, earlier in the year, we got false reports that Venus had accepted a wild card to play in Indian Wells. We didn't know what to make of that then. Now, in hindsight, Venus was clearly always coming back We just didn't know that. And she clearly was not ready at that time. I thought, as I've mentioned on the show before, that I had been present at Venus's last ever professional match, which would have been March 2024 at Miami, at the Miami Open. That no longer is the case. She explained her absence that it was due to needing surgery to deal with fibroids, among other physical ailments that she's had to deal with since March 2024. And she's back now, feeling healthy. Of the 4 matches that she played in DC, she was not strapped, wearing thigh wrappings, leg wrappings, nothing. None of that sort in those 4 matches, which over the past 4 years, Venus would show up to an event looking healthy, and by the second set, she'd be strapped with somewhere,
right.
you know? So I will say that this is the healthiest I've seen her look on a tennis court in a long, long time. Before we get into what Venus actually did in DC, Frampton T on Instagram asked, what's the excitement level of Venus getting wild cards until the end of time? Now, I don't know if this is tongue-in-cheek, if it's a little bit dark-sided. I don't know which side of the fence Frampton is on here.
Mm-hmm. And maybe their side has changed recently. Who knows?
Yeah. What we saw was the DC tournament and Mark... What's his name?
Ein. Mark Ein.
Mark Ein. The DC tournament, run by Mark Ein, had to have been pleased as punch with their return on investment with this wildcard. And one of the things that I learned, and I believe it was from talking with Courtney Nguyen a couple of years ago, about this very specific issue pertaining to Venus. And at the time, it had to do with Miami.
Yes.
It was actually in Miami last year that we would have talked about this. People, again, were saying, oh, why are you giving her the wild card? Younger people deserve it, etc., blah, blah, blah. I think we're finally moving the needle on the deserve part of this conversation. Nobody deserves a wild card because they're inherently biased, unfair, what have you. But Venus does move the needle from a tournament perspective in ways that we cannot see, or maybe not even think about. Specific to that Miami event, Venus went and did morning TV. She did a lot of local press, which is invaluable promotion for the tournament. And we saw at this event the buzz that she brought just by showing up. The lines that people lined up, the length of those lines just to get an autograph. People showed up to her matches. And the buzz when she won that first match, crazy.
Oh, yeah. Incredible.
The reach of the story of Venus Williams winning that one match in media far and wide across all genres, news cycles, spheres. It wasn't just a sports story. It was a political story.
Right. Well, like, why is Bernie Sanders tweeting about the DC tournament?
Yeah. So Venus was the conversation for a good 4 or 5 days of this tournament.
Right. But I think your point is even before the win. First of all, I don't think we expected her to notch a win in singles. At 45 years old, it's been over a year since she played a match. Nobody knew what she was going to be playing like. And she's playing I think she was the number 34 ranked player at the time, Peyton Stearns, who was a great competitor, but didn't play particularly well in this match.
Very kind of you, because she played poorly.
She did, yeah. But the attention surrounding Venus is huge. Like, it's unmatched. There's nobody in tennis save her sister coming back that's going to generate that at this moment.
Well, if Rafa or Roger came back.
Well, sure, but I'm talking about, this is women's tennis.
Yeah.
And she was in a good mood, right? She did a very jovial pre-tournament press. Like you said, she does local news. Everybody's talking about her. So, I mean, me as a fan, I was like, oh, she's going to play singles. Okay, interesting. Of course I want to see her back, but I was also like, how is this going to go?
We actually did talk about this wild card a couple episodes ago, because I remember saying good luck to her.
Right.
And why I said that was because I didn't want to prognosticate as to how she would play.
Right.
I saw all these people declaring she shan't win more than one game. It'll be a success if she loses 6-2, 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned over time never to underestimate the importance of Body language.
All right, Ursula. No, I mean, Venus has, to me, always been the most unpredictable person, not just player, but person in tennis. I never know what she's thinking or what she's going to do.
And as it turned out, she showed up playing the best tennis I've seen her play in, 4 or 5 years? At 45.
Right, probably.
What she showed against Peyton Stearns was the best serving I've seen from her in eons. It looked to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she's done some work in abbreviating her strokes. Especially on the forehand, it's not as big a take back. It's a lot more compact. And it served her well in being able to stay within the lines, which was one of her big problems in the last few years of her playing on tour. She couldn't find the consistency from the ground, and that seemed to be fixed, at least in that match. Maybe she just liked the ball that Peyton was giving her.
Right.
But then she was also serving 112 to 116 miles an hour. She hit, 9 aces in that match? Not many double faults. It was really good stuff. The winner unforced error situation wasn't flattering, necessarily, compared to what we saw on TV. But it was scintillating stuff. She really rocked tennis with that result.
Now, Peyton was clearly nervous. I don't know if she knew how to handle that moment in particular. She really did not play a good match at all. That's not to take away from Venus playing well, but Peyton was very far from her best.
She couldn't keep the ball in the court when Venus moves on to play her next match against Frech.
Yeah.
Is that how I pronounce it?
I don't know. Magdalena Frech.
Okay.
She's Polish.
Yeah, a very consistent player, gets the balls back, will make Venus make the mistake, which is what happened.
This is, as you said, even when Venus was Venus, this is a player she does not like to play. This type of player.
She couldn't find the rhythm on her racket. She couldn't get a feel of the ball. She's going to take a wild card again into Cincinnati and presumably into the US Open. We haven't heard about singles wild cards yet. Am I correct? But she's gotten a wild card into maybe playing the mixed doubles exhibition.
Really?
Yeah, with Riley Opelka. I skeeted about this.
Right. I don't want to talk about that.
That's probably why you forgot. So there will be more Venus opportunities in the near future, and it doesn't sound like she's ramping up to a US Open retirement situation, which is what people are speculating. People are always wanting to move the goalpost back to where the retirement could be.
Yeah.
That's like, the most pressing question.
She played well in DC, forget it. This is a retirement tour. Again, Venus is not someone who ever does what you expect or want her to do. She's going to do what she wants.
To the question of what our excitement level is for Venus getting wildcards until the end of time, I'm only concerned about not winning any matches and having the haters be even louder and feel like they're vindicated. So I'm happy for Venus to be out here, as she says, enjoying the process. It's not about the wins or losses. She said that she could have played just as well as she did against Peyton Stearns and still lost the match. Right. That's happened before. To see the hard work bring forth a win, that's the process that really gets her going at this point. And so I hope she's able to have those moments for as long as she wants. Win a match here, lose the next one. I don't care. Guess what? A lot of top 100 players struggle to get one win in 6 months. It happens all the time.
Remember how many Mladenovic lost in a row?
So many players. So I hope that she can provide for herself and her fans a few moments like she did in DC. I don't expect tournament win number 50. I don't expect the moon and the stars. I just want a non-fraught situation. I don't want to deal with haters. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the mess.
I will say I've been saying on this podcast for a long time that Venus is sticking around for the dental and the health insurance. It was in jest, but of course she brought it up in her interview and said they informed me recently that I'm on Cobra now, which is the extension of your employer health care once you lose your job that you have to pay the premiums for. to be clear, Venus Williams can afford her own health care. She can She can pay in cash at the doctor if necessary.
She can go do a TED Talk or two to make up whatever it is
to
that
pay
she's
for
missing.
a surgery or whatever. Not all players can.
So to see that story then go beyond tennis, whereby Bernie Sanders is using Venus's words to make a political statement.
Yeah.
So many people were saying, well, you know, if Venus Williams can't afford health insurance, you know that the medical situation in America is broken.
Yes, and now I hear you. I hear the spirit of that. Venus Williams can, but most people can't. And in Canada, if you lost your job, you would still have a backup plan. And most developed countries. She played doubles as well with Hailey Baptiste, who is a local. They beat Clairvy Nguyenwe and Jeannie Bouchard in their first match. In their next match, took the number 2 team, Townsend Zhang, to a match tiebreak, which was the only time that the number 2 team lost a set all tournament. Taylor Townsend, during this tournament, was elevated to doubles number 1.
She earned the number 1 ranking.
Oh, you didn't like that passive voice?
No, I did not.
She is the number 1 doubles player in the world. I believe it's the 50th doubles number 1 in WTA history. Taylor said that she didn't dare dream this a little while ago. It's such an incredible thing to see, as, you know, people who have been following Taylor since that horrible USTA saga. I'm just so happy for her success as a grown-up, right? As after her amazing junior career, just to see this continue, have her be a slam winner is so cool.
The buzz in DC wasn't just about Venus. Sure, it was a boon, it was a big help, but there were other things that happened. Right.
The DMV, or the DC area, has this growing contingent of tennis players, which of course is led by Francis Tiafoe and his brother Franklin, who is now a coach. Francis was talking about the diversity of the crowd, which is different from many tennis tournaments around the world, especially the turnout of DC's black tennis fans. And he said, quote, "So many people of color in the stands, it's awesome. Chocolate City for a reason." He went on to say, tennis etiquette, you saw Kovacevic getting super pissed, and a lot of times black people not knowing what the hell tennis is, just funny, unbelievable. He's getting frustrated. It was funny because, like, this is kind of what we need. And you can see the excitement in DC from black tennis fans. Even in Toronto, in a small way, you've seen, or at least I've experienced, a growing number of black tennis fans coming to the tournament. I've talked to some of them. A lot of them are coming from upstate New York, coming from the city I grew up in because it's so close.
You've talked to a lot of them? You've been doing on-the-ground reporting?
Right? Yeah. No, but you can see it in the stands, right? In North American tennis, there's just this incredible tradition now, led by people like Zina Garrison and Lori McNeil, and then of course the Williams sisters, Chanda, now Francis and Haley, and innumerable black tennis players. And so Francis was praising, like, wow, but look at this turnout. And Mark Ein, the tournament owner of DC, is a huge booster of tennis in Washington, D.C. area. He's from there. He's from Chevy Chase, Maryland. He's also the founder of the Washington Castles, the world team tennis team. That was a mouthful. But Mark Ein clearly wants this, right? Like, this is the kind of publicity and excitement and butts in seats that you need for a tournament of this level. Let me be clear that the comments about tennis etiquette were Francis's, not mine. I, as a white person, I have no opinion on that.
He gave the impression that black people don't really know anything about tennis.
Right.
That they're for vibes and just to support everybody black, like Issa Rae.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the implication is more that there are a lot of new tennis fans who are just coming to the sport, and new tennis fans will learn how tennis works eventually, right? It's fine.
And we know that the majority of people at tennis tournaments don't know their head from their asses, period.
Even the people who've gone for many, many years.
Regardless of what background they're from. It's actually my least favorite part about going to live tennis. the sheer volume of times I've heard some man trying to mansplain tennis rules to the woman that he's with. And he's more often than not Not just wrong, but spectacularly
Yes.
wrong.
Or live commentating matches. I don't care if you don't know tennis. Just why are you insisting that you do?
Mark Ein, while he was on court to deliver the winner's trophy to, spoiler alert, Leylah Fernandez, he made a point of speaking to the crowd and saying, "Weren't you all so happy to have Venus here this week?" This is days after Venus is no longer even part of the tournament.
Right. Mark and Venus are friends. And she said that she was happy to accept a wild card from Mark. And this tournament did not get the finals that it wanted, I'm sure. But it got, on the men's side, it got an exciting match. All the American guys had lost previously, Fritz and Tiafoe and Shelton. And so we get Alex de Minaur and Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, long three-setter, in which Alex saved 3 match points. It was very depressing for me as a fan of Alejandro, who was so close, up a break in the third set, on his way to possibly winning his first title in 4 tries. He's been in 3 finals this year. This is his best year on tour, ever.
Well, a lot of those men weren't at the back end of this tournament because of Alejandro.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Shelton in straight sets in the semifinal. He came back big in the third set against Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinal. And he also beat Lerner Tien in the round of 16. Just an outstanding week. And to have it end the way it did for him, just heartbreaking scenes. And de Minaur, to his credit, he knew what was up.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he got really lucky. He even said it in his victory speech. He said, "I got lucky." Period. Point blank. He even went over to Alejandro after the match and sat beside him and tried to console him because he knew he got away with one. And it wasn't because Alejandro choked, necessarily. He got lucky.
I think it wasn't egregious this time. You know, Alex saved one of those match points on just this incredible rally, this backhand lob. One of his shots practically dusted the line. It was so close to the match being over. After that point, I think I would have just laid down my racket and left. I was so angry.
I was such a liar. You would not have laid down that racket. That's not what would have happened.
I would destroy it and then leave. You know, like when Serena walks off a practice court and leaves her purse and her dog? Yeah, that would be me. You'd
have slammed the racket and walked off.
I was feeling very sour after that match. And even de Minaur's gesture of going over to Alejandro, I was like, dude, get away from me. Like, don't talk to me. Thank you, but no. That's just me. I'm just a nasty, mean bitch.
After the match, Alex took to Instagram to kind of boast about how great life is. Saying that he'd won DC and also he's getting to marry Katie Boulter. And then even went even further to tweet at the US Open account saying, "Can we get a mixed doubles wildcard?"
No. I have some thoughts about that. No. If Siniakova does not have a wildcard, you don't get one. We've got people on here who haven't won a doubles match in literal years playing the mixed doubles tournament.
What about a couple replacing a couple in the draw? Because Tsitsipas and Badosa have broken up, and so, you know.
Well, they're not playing. How about a no fraternization policy? How about that? How about a no couples policy?
Well.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I guess Emma and Carlos can't play.
Stop. Shut up. And also, Zheng and Jack unfortunately can't play together because Zheng just got surgery.
Correct.
Yeah. So that team was
short-lived.
Yes. Let's talk about Leylah. Leylah, Miss Lululemon, Miss Montreal. What an incredible week, right? Beats Joint in the first match. Then
beats Maya Joint. I think we have to say both names for now. I don't think a lot of people are fully aware of Joint yet.
Okay, beats number 1 seed Jessica Pegula,
mm-hmm.
Taylor Townsend, Elena Rybakina, and Kalinskaya to win her 4th title and her biggest career title yet.
Famously, she plays very well in Mexico, Leylah, mm-hmm. and now she's playing well stateside. Her Lululemon kits are always so simple, so clean. She keeps it nice, neat, sugar, sweet.
Stream everywhere. Morai's new single with Shensi and Kehlani.
I love this for her. I love that both her and Emma are having this moment at the same time. They came up together, made that US Open final together, both struggled, possibly maybe Emma more so than Leylah.
Cursed with worse injuries, certainly.
Yeah, but they're now similarly ranked, having a similar come up, re-emergence. Mm-hmm. These two just seem to be tethered together.
Right. Emma played really, really well at Wimbledon, of course. But she's, looking more consistent in general.
Won again today in Montreal.
A lot of people were hoping that that would be the final. Unfortunately, that didn't come to pass.
Kalinskaya beat Emma in the semis. But then Leylah just bodied Kalinskaya in that final. It was not close.
No.
It actually forced me to go about my business that day. Because it was on Sunday.
Because you were going to sit and watch for a while.
I was going to sit and watch.
Leylah's matches usually take a long time.
Yeah, and I had committed to that match. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, then I won't have time to do that other thing I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But then it was over, and I was like, well, I guess I am. Leylah made the decision for me.
Now, Leylah celebrates this tournament very quickly because her hometown tournament in Montreal is starting. Because it's now an extended Masters, they start playing early rounds on Sunday, and we're going to get a final next Thursday. So it's a 12-day tournament. The latest she can play is Tuesday. And she lost to Maya Joint in her first match Tuesday afternoon.
Joint, who she beat in the first round in DC.
Exactly.
She loses to her 6-4, 6-1 this time. Previously, on Love Island...
Tonight.
Previously, with this tournament being a Monday to Sunday affair, there would always be first round matches on Wednesday. That would be the latest start that you could get. Mm-hmm. So that's favorable. You could win DC, have a cute moment on Sunday, and then negotiate with the organizers and play on Wednesday. Even if it's not the night match, daytime Wednesday would still be a decent amount of recovery time. That's no longer the case. Because first round matches have already been completed in Montreal before you've even finished your tournament in DC. The latest you can start now is Tuesday. Leylah said that she had arranged with organizers that she would get the Tuesday night slot. And she was mad that she had to play Tuesday daytime. Mm-hmm. For me, this is a non-starter. We're talking about a matter of hours here. Just a few hours. It is what it is. I don't see how you can have a first round match as the night session on Tuesday when pretty much all the first round matches are done already. It just doesn't make any sense. Unfortunate, and it sucks for you that you were able to win this tournament. A downside of you winning this tournament, but now it is the card that you've dealt yourself.
Yeah, and unfortunately you don't get a lot of time to celebrate. Within 48 hours you've lost first round in your home country's biggest tournament. The tournament director, Valérie Tétrault, blamed the WTA because Leylah was pissed. Like, she ripped the tournament apart in her press. And the tournament director said, well, she fought hard, but the WTA is the one who gets to rule on scheduling. And they prefer that all first round matches are complete before the second round starts. And the second round was planned to start in the Tuesday night session. So Leylah's match had to be done in the afternoon, ideally. And like you said, I do totally get Leylah's frustration, but at the same time, like, there are dozens of commercial flights between DC and Montreal every day. Alex and...
Maybe not dozens.
Maybe no, I was thinking Toronto. But it's not hard to get there, and it's not a long flight. Alex and Ale took a private jet, which was totally unnecessary, by the way, given the locations you were flying between.
Especially them, going from DC to Toronto. Right. Like, come on.
It's there are a lot of flights. You could get a first class on a nice commercial flight. But anyway, we tried performance buys, and you all remember how that went.
Explain to the listeners what performance buys are.
Yeah, performance buys, it was kind of like a pilot program on the WTA where if you had won a tournament the week prior, they were experimenting with giving you a buy in your first round to the next tournament. And it happened, people were very pissed off about it, and they're not trying it again.
One of the things about this Canadian Masters swing, where you have the men and women alternating between Montreal and Toronto each year. This year, the men in Toronto, the women in Montreal. The Canadians never do well. We've been living here in the city for how long? We've been living in Toronto for 14 years.
Yes.
And we've been going to these tournaments even longer.
For longer than that.
And we're always force-fed Canadians. They shove them down our throats. The promotion is so heavily skewed toward Canadian players. Mm-hmm. Players you've often never even heard of. Which, fine. This is how you build your empire.
Sure. But Canada, in the mid-2010s, began to get stars.
Yeah.
Right? Big stars.
Top 10 Jeannie Bouchard couldn't buy a win.
No.
At either location. Mm-hmm. Felix, Dennis, Milos, Vasek.
Bianca's always got something going on.
Right? They'll win a match.
She, of course, won this tournament.
They'll win a match, maybe two, but it just never happens. You'd think in these 15 years you'd have had somebody make a run.
Well, Bianca did.
Okay, fine.
But that was 2019. That was her brilliant year.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Bianca being the only one.
Bianca Andreescu's injury misfortune continues, unfortunately. She's playing Barbie K, gets injured on her own match point, rolls her ankle, and starts crying. She did win that match, but now she's pulled out of her next match versus Andreeva. Bianca, man. When I was on Matchpoint Canada, another podcast with Mike McIntyre, and we were talking about Bianca, and I don't remember what I said. I think I find Bianca a very interesting person off court, but I had to get off the train on court. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I wish her much success, but it's always.
But that's not about the injuries.
No, it's not.
There's always some dramatic on court.
So I'm really sad to see that she injured herself. That really sucks. But I guess I stopped following Bianca. I'm more so interested in what she's doing off court.
Well, damn.
Well, again, I wish her much success. I want her to be successful, but I cannot be a part of it at this moment.
Canadian that's still standing is Vicky Mboko.
She sure is.
She beat gospel legend Kim Burrell and then Sofia Kenin in straight sets. She's going to play Boskova tomorrow. Pospisil got a wild card to play in Toronto where he has officially retired from tennis, losing in 3 sets to Facundo Bagnis. Jeannie Bouchard is also retiring from tennis. As we are recording, she's in a 3rd set with Belinda Bancic.
Yeah, Jeannie surprised a lot of people, and probably most of all herself, by winning her first match here versus Arango in 3 sets. I think she expected, I'm going to get a wild card and this is going to be my retirement match. And then she won.
We started this recording with Jeannie down a set to Belinda. Jeannie pulled the 2nd set out, got up a break 3-1 in the 3rd, and now she's serving to stay on serve at 3-4 in the 3rd, just saving a break point. So we'll have that result to be able to talk about before this episode is done recording. Right. Crafty Crusader on Instagram asked for our thoughts on Bouchard now that she's retiring, and then offered baffling career.
Yeah, those are my thoughts. Baffling career.
It's a baffling career in that she had such big heights at the start of it. And I've said this many times on the podcast over the years. I started this podcast being a Jeannie fan back in 2015. And then I realized just how ugly her game is.
Sure, yeah.
I appreciated the scrappiness, I think. But then when I paid attention, it's not an attractive game to watch.
No.
And I think I don't want to say it's pretty clear, but is it that she just overperformed at the start of her career?
Yeah, she had that 1 year, right? She made a slam semi and then the Wimbledon final against Petra. I think she
made 2 slam semis to start 2014. Semi in Australia, semi at the French, losing to Petra in the final. Petra was on one that day. Jeannie did not stand a chance. And she went back to Australia in 2015 and made the quarterfinals. And that was pretty much it. She made the 4th round at the US Open in 2015 and never went past the 3rd round of a major again.
She had the slip and fall and the head injury at the US Open, and I don't know what kind of damage that wrought. Like, I don't want to minimize that. And she, I believe, settled a lawsuit with them for an undisclosed sum. So I feel badly for her that she had to go through that. But yeah, her career is pretty baffling.
Kudos to her for being a prominent, influential figure in Canadian tennis. We have to give her
an important figure. And kudos to her for being incredibly mean-spirited about Maria Sharapova's return to tennis. Made some great headlines, unforgettable.
She seems to be out here living her life, living it up, and that I do not begrudge any tennis player, unless maybe you're that guy. That's pretty much the only one.
Another retirement, or I guess a stepping away from tennis for now, is Maxime Cressy, tall serve and volleyer who had, some career heights a few years ago and has really, really suffered from a lower back injury. I relate. It is horrible. Like, you cannot play through that. And I gotta say, I'm really upset that we are stuck with Maxime's Wario, Riley Opelka, but Maxime is leaving the game.
He had this unique position as being a player who found success later in life with a style of play that was not being used on tour. He gave people hope that serve and volley could return. He showed people that you could have some success with a serve and volley game, as brief and short-lived as it was.
Right. A really incredible hold rate, which is probably just as attributable to the serve alone. Not a great return of serve, the breaking rate.
Two big coaching changes that have happened since we were last on air. Stefanos Tsitsipas broke with Goran Ivanisevic. We talked about what Goran said. That clearly was not going to last after that happened.
No.
And then Naomi Osaka finally got rid of Patrick, and she's now in a trial coaching situation with Iga's former coach, Tomasz Wiktorowski.
Yeah, this was broken by Courtney Nguyen and the Polish media, kind of at the same time, that Tomasz was en route to Montreal for a trial period with Naomi Osaka.
Montreal.
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 Or like Anglo-Canadians, they say Montreal. Why is it M-U-N? That's how they say it.
I don't know. I'm just saying that was a choice, whatever it is that
Did you know, well, but I don't know if the listeners know that Canadians pronounce their capital Ottawa. It's a very ostentatious wa.
How do they...
I thought it was Ottawa.
How do they pronounce the category of food that spaghetti is in?
Pasta.
And you say?
Pasta.
Oh.
Like, what is pasta? That I could not believe my ears the first time I heard it. Anyway, Tomasz is there in Montreal working with Naomi. She won her first two matches, the first against the Canadian Arsenault, and then Samsonova in 3 sets, saving 3 match points in the second set. We shall see. I think it was really important to break with Patrick. I don't know whose decision it was, but it clearly wasn't going anywhere. I need to see the evidence that Patrick is a successful coach without Serena.
Patrick seems to be a figurehead who will drop in, give a few pointers. It doesn't give serious coach to me at this point.
Yeah.
And like with Goran, you build your name on success with one of the very best, if not the very best player of all time. So it's always going to be impossible to know what their actual contribution was.
Yeah.
If their coaching was to tap into one specific thing that might not even be technical, it could be emotional, it could be a way of thinking while you're on the court. It could be one tiny little thing, as opposed to your talent as a fully formed coach. We'll never know.
Right.
Until these people take somebody under their wing from a much lower rank and bring them to the top. Patrick did not do that with Holger.
No. Patrick and Goran, they like to talk, they like to speak their minds. Patrick was critical of what Goran said about Stefanos. And of course, Patrick has a long-time relationship with Stefanos. He may feel protective toward him. And I agree with Patrick that having your active coach talk shit about you publicly really sucks. and really poisons the relationship. How could they have continued after that? Goran is...
Patrick has talked shit about his current students all the time.
Sure, I'm not saying that Patrick is innocent. I'm saying he was right about that. In that, well, like, stop clock is right twice a day kind of thing. Goran is kind of on a media tour, talking shit about Patrick. It's going back and forth. I have to wonder, what personality type chooses two extremely complicated and, dare I say, toxic situations for their first coaching situations post Djokovic. First with Rybakina, dealing with that horrible situation with Vukov, and then Tsitsipas, who has years of evidence of a dysfunctional relationship with his family. It's interesting to me that Goran chose those when I'm sure he was highly sought after.
Well, there were available jobs.
Yeah.
And there were high-profile players as well.
Sure.
With things that needed to be fixed.
And did he fix them?
No.
And so I kind of wonder, what kind of coach is Ivanisevic behind the scenes? What kind of coach does he want to be? Is there something that draws him to difficult situations like this? I am genuinely interested on where he will go next, which player he would like to coach next, and what the results are going to be.
I can report in a very delayed way for the listeners that Genie Bouchard's career is over.
Okay.
She has lost 6-4 in the third to Belinda Bencic, and that's a wrap.
A really unexpected performance from her at this tournament, winning a match, bringing Bencic to 3 sets. R.I.P. Genie Bouchard's career, but she plays pickleball too.
Let's finish the episode with a few more mailbag questions, and then we'll save the rest for future episodes. Irascibly on Blue Sky asks, inspired by your travel segment about London, what are some favorite places, foods, sites in Toronto that you would enjoy if you yourselves were visiting for the first time? I will offer that my very favorite spot in the entire city is the Toronto Islands, specifically Hannon's Point. Absolutely recommend that.
Yeah,
I like being on the water. I like the water elements that Toronto has to offer. I like the village. The village is where I spend most of my time.
That's Church and Wellesley. The islands are a pretty unique thing that I haven't really seen in a lot of major cities. They are not accessible by bridge. There are basically no cars out there. You can get there by ferry or water taxi, and it just kind of feels like the Wild West. It feels very separate from the city, but it's extremely close. As far as food, I think on a previous episode I said when you're at the Toronto tournament, you're close to the subway, the University Spadina side of our main subway line. Just take it down, get off at Eglinton West. That's Little Jamaica. Have a beef patty. You can get off... where else? Well, come downtown, of course. Kensington Market is something that I absolutely love, which I know a lot of tourists go to now, but it's still actually a thing that locals do as well. There's a really, really good pizza right near it called Fresca that I absolutely love. There's also this pizza place in Kensington called Pizzeria da Mario that is really good.
Maybe you should do a segment where you talk about all the pizza in Toronto that you hate. Because
No. I'm trying to be positive. These are places I love and have been to multiple times.
It's taken you 17 years and longer of coming to Toronto and living in Toronto to find places that you like.
That's not true. A lot of my favorite places have closed, unfortunately. I will say I love Vietnamese food, and there's a lot of great Vietnamese in Toronto. A lot of things.
Yeah, pretty much any cuisine you want, you'll find great of it. You'll find it represented greatly here.
Yeah. I remember way back, it was not my first time in Toronto, but it was kind of my first time as an adult visiting you. We went to the Toronto tournament for the very first time, went to the Toronto Zoo, which is huge and awesome. It's a little bit outside of the city, so you have to kind of drive there or take a bus or whatever. We went to the islands. The CN Tower is a tourist thing, but it's actually very cool.
Okay.
It really is.
As someone for whom heights are not his milieu, it's nice to look at briefly. It's beautiful looking at the Toronto skyline coming back from the islands at night.
Yes, it really is cool.
That is gorgeous. One of my favorite restaurants in the city is King Seafood Dim Sum.
Yes.
Love that place. It's an old school Chinese dim sum restaurant with banquet tables.
It's like a massive ballroom.
Very affordable. The food is always good. We've had so many experiences where you find a restaurant on TikTok and you take me there and it's not great.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of the trendy places or the great restaurants in Toronto I've never been to. So I don't feel comfortable making those kind of recommendations. But I would say there are a lot of ethnic enclaves in Toronto. There are a lot of neighborhoods that are kind of self-contained. And I would try to explore that as much as possible. You know, go to Markham for Chinese food, which is not an enclave. It's a huge suburb.
Chinese in Toronto is incredible. If you are uninitiated and you only think of Chinese food as North American Chinese takeout, boy, do you have a whole new world to explore. And it's not just Markham. There's so many places all over downtown that's not just limited to an ethnic enclave. I love Korean food. You famously, or much to my chagrin, don't love Korean food as much as I do.
Just because I can't get with kimchi. You know, the fermented cabbage thing, I just can't do it. But I like a lot of Korean food that's not that.
I can't even have kimchi in the house anymore because as soon you won't even be paying attention, and as soon as I open the jar, it's like I'm actively trying to kill you with anthrax or something.
But you know, if you're coming to Toronto for the tournament, it is finally connected by subway. It's the same subway line that you can get downtown at the major hub stations. For many years it wasn't, right? You had to take a subway and then take a bus, or some people Ubered. It was a real ordeal getting to the site. But I would recommend staying downtown. I would not recommend staying near the site. It's not very exciting.
Because one of the things that Toronto has to offer more so than a lot of other big cities is great food.
Yeah.
Great, affordable food. One of your favorite places in the city is what? Goats and little...
Oh my God.
Little sheep
Riverdale
and chickens.
Farm. Riverdale Farm is my favorite place in the entire city. It's in a neighborhood called Cabbagetown. It's accessible by streetcar, and it's an urban farm. It's free, and you can go see the little farm animals and feed them. It's so fun.
Not so much a recommendation, but a suggestion to avoid King Street. Don't do that.
You'll see it on TikTok, all the recommended restaurants. It's not cool. It's really not. So we used to live on Bloor. So Bloordale, Bloor Court, Greektown, Koreatown, Annex. Just stay on the Bloor subway line and get off where you want.
There are a lot of places in Toronto that you can... This is a pro tip. You can tell if it looks too clean, if it looks too new, if it looks too big, don't do it. My favorite things in Toronto have a little bit of grime to them.
Yeah.
Andy Garcia on Instagram asks, what are your tennis tournament essentials? For me now, I'm telling you, I will never attend a tennis tournament on an even remotely hot day without a fan. That is a must-have for me.
Like a clack, like a hand fan.
I'm not clacking it. You can have one of those automated ones that, blow themselves.
That do what now?
But the old school manual fan yourself stuff, that is an absolute must.
Climate change is here. It's not something that's coming.
I was on site at the Toronto tournament on Monday, and it was one of the most oppressive days I've ever had at tennis.
Yeah.
And I had a fan. I've been at the US Open on super humid days before, and I dealt with it. But for some reason, Monday was just so much.
It was so humid that day. I wasn't even there. I feel like we should probably do an episode at some point about like tennis tournament essentials and travel, and I would probably have a guest because there are people who are way more well traveled than us. I don't think I'm good at the essentials. I don't think I'm prepared when I go to a tournament.
I don't think you're prepared for anything really when you leave the house.
Wow.
I think you just end up complaining and not remembering to do the proper thing the next time.
Okay, so essential number 1 is check their stupid bag policy.
Yes.
North American bag policies are crazy, first of all. A lot of places in the US now you need a clear bag. Yep. I don't want people seeing my business.
Well, Toronto is way easier than it's even been in previous years.
Oh, really?
You don't have to take anything out of your pocket. You don't have to do the little, put your keys and phone into a little circle container and then go through the metal detector. They have a much smaller detector. I don't know what it's detecting, but you just walk through it and then you just scan your ticket and you're in.
Oh, okay.
And it's unclear if people are even checking bags.
Oh, interesting.
Which was the case at Wimbledon too. So I don't know if it's like
it felt very lax.
I don't know if it's a new super sensitive detection thing that you're walking through that allows you to be good and speed up the process. But I was thankful for it.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, I understand why events in the US are so stringent compared to the rest of the world.
Yes. There is a very specific reason.
Yeah. Essentials for me, a portable phone charger, always bring one that's fully charged. Sunscreen. I don't really use a fan. I don't use sunglasses, but I'll bring a hat. I think a cool thing to do is to print out the orders of play and circle matches you want to watch. It's so hard once you get in the thick of it to keep track of who's playing where, and you want to see everybody. And that's the stressful part of being on site for me, is feeling like, oh, I only have 1 day or 2 days here. I have to make it worth it. So printing out the order of play is good. A lot of tournaments let you bring snacks and drinks. Not all of them do. But I would bring your own food. Tournament food is extremely expensive.
See, for me, I don't like to have a lot of things on me. When I went by myself on Monday, it was bare bones. I had my cell phone, I had my fan, that was it. Now, when you're coming with me, I'll make sure I'll make sure that you have the body serve tote. There'll be the charger in there, and then maybe I'll put a couple other things in there. Maybe I'll bring a hairbrush. Maybe because if you're there and it's humid, by hour 2 or 3, you can be looking a mess.
Well, you have curly hair.
Yeah. If it's a really hot day, maybe bring a change of shirt.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world. Maybe bring some deodorant. Not the end of the world, because you can always purchase one on site if you have the means to do it.
$75.
Not necessarily. And then you have a memento from the tournament, what have you. Sunglasses for me, a must. But that's about it. I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm very minimalist when I'm going to a tennis tournament. I want to have as few things on me as possible to keep track of, more than anything else.
I spend way too much money when I'm at a tournament because I don't bring food and stuff. I'm going to buy, and I waste a lot of money on that. And I want to try their signature cocktail and all that. So I would say, plan out your spending better than I do. Yeah. And finally, the essential is a body serve tote bag. If they allow canvas bags that aren't clear, you can purchase one. You can follow our link tree.
TJC05 on Blue Sky submits an FMK question like we've never had before. He says FMK : Meldonium, clostebol, or tainted beef tortellini. Those are the 3 options.
That's very messy and rude. I know mine.
Okay.
So I would F tainted beef tortellini because it's interesting. It's creative.
Well, also
somebody put some thought into that story.
Well, also you'd be tangentially effing Robert Farr.
Oh, right. Maybe that's why I made the association. I would kill clostebol. It's it's an anabolic agent. It's bad news. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I suppose I would have to marry meldonium because it does have medical uses.
Also, the clostebol story was so boring. For such a massive top player doping story, it was so boring.
Oh, now I got to hear about your eczema?
Right, and in keeping with Jannik Sinner being boring to me,
right,
I had to go deal with this story for so long and be so thoroughly bored by it. And meldonium, it's one of the OG stories.
I mean, it's glamour.
It's that girl.
It is, yeah. And that caused all that conversation.
The carpet. The drab carpet.
Blaming Max for not reading your emails. I mean, it really had everything.
Let's finish with this one that I know will piss you off.
Oh, Lord.
James Weir asks, who played a more flawless Wimbledon final, 2019 Halep or 2025 Swiatek?
Swiatek, I don't even have to think about it. That's on period. I do not have to think about it.
Do you think you're correct?
I sure do. Serena was awful. I mean, so was Anisimova, but...
I was hoping I didn't have to lead you to that water to drink.
I would say, okay, Serena owned Simona thoroughly throughout their careers. And some people submit that Simona's performance was like goat level. It's like she summoned the ghost of Mary Pierce.
Not
I
goat
disagree.
level that for her, she played out of her mind. She played a flawless match.
But certainly not unbeatable. That's what I object to.
Was Swiatek beatable? Unbeatable? This year at Wimbledon?
By the current people who were around and how they were playing.
I just knew that this question would bring the petty out of you.
The question, no offense to the asker, it upset my spirit.
I know it did. Because you will never be able to see this 2019 result through a different lens. You will never do...
I'm not going to see it for Roxa Dustad. I'm just not. Not in 2025.
Ay, ay, ay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that. On that. My name is Jonathan. You can find me on Blue Sky at Tennis John.
I'm James at Elliot JMR on Blue Sky.
2 L's, 2 T's.
As I mentioned, you can find everything else about the Body Serve at linktree.com/thebodyserve, including a Body Serve tote if you'd like to take it to a tournament like I do.
Thanks for listening.
Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.